وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما اللهم صل على سيدنا ومولانا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا ومولانا محمد وأصحاب سيدنا ومولانا محمد وبارك وسلم وصل عليه صلاة والسلام عليك يا سيدي يا رسول الله وعلى آلك وأصحابك يا سيدي يا حبيب الله. The discussion we are journeying inshallah is relating to the stages of difficulty during the death, and we said that the first one is the throes of death, the pain of death, maut ki jo dard hai, the experience of death. That is the first calamity. And Imam Ghazali mentions that the next calamity is seeing the angel of death, Malakul Maut ko dekhna. This is the second calamity. And I mentioned the story of Ibrahim alayhi salam. How Ibrahim alayhi salam ki do mulaqatein hoti hain. He meets him on two separate occasions. And on the first occasion, he asks him to take the shakal of the form that he is going to take when he takes the soul of a gunagar or an evildoer, a zalim. And when Ibrahim alayhi salam sees this, what happens? Ibrahim alayhi salam, he faints, he falls unconscious, ab behosh ho jate hain. And he says a statement when he regains consciousness, he says, Agar gunagar ke liye sirf ए मलकुल मौत तुझे इस शक्ल में देखना अपने सारे गुनाह की सजा का अजाब ये हो तो ये उसके लिए काफी है. Yeah? And then he meets him on another occasion where he sees him in the shakl that he is going to be when he removes the soul of a pious individual. And Ibrahim alayhi salam says to him that if for the good doer, for the muttaqi, for the parhezgar, for the salihin, for the good people, just seeing you, तुम्हें इस शक्ल में देखना मौत के दौरान उनके सारे आमाल, सारी कमाई के लिए सिर्फ ये काफी. They don't need any other reward, any other thwab, but this is enough for them. But the reality is, hakikat is, that is only the beginning. That is only the start. And that's where we move on today. The second thing, the second calamity, Imam Ghazali mentions. He mentions the Kiram and Katibin, Raqib and Atid, the two names that we mentioned last week. Okay? And he says that when the person dying sees and meets Kiram and Katibin, the angels who were with him his entire life, recording everything he did, हर चीज जो उसने की अच्छाई और गुनाह जो भी किया वो लिखते जाते गए. They never got tired, they never slept. They were with him for his entire life, recording whatever he did. They see him after death and they give him the news and they tell him where you are going. They tell him either you are going on your way to the hellfire or either you are going on your way to Jannah. Raqib, Kiram and Katibin tell him. Okay? And the narration that is mentioned, it said that they even make this statement, and this is what, when I read it, this was something that really hit me. They say to the good person, they say, oh joyous one, oh good individual, oh insan, you are the one that made us sit in good gatherings. You were the one that took us to virtuous places. You were the one that worked hard for us to write down all the good that you did. So today, enjoy the heaven and the Jannah that you are going to go to. This is what they say to him. And then on the other hand, for the gunagar, for the zalim, they say, oh zalim, oh individual, you were the one that made us sit in all the wrong gatherings. क्योंकि ये तो हकीकतन है, जहां भी हम जाएं, मलाइका हमारे साथ साथ आते हैं. The angels, they follow us wherever we go, and they write down and record whatever we do. After death, they say, you made us go into these gatherings. You made us go into these places. You made us go into these nightclubs and these pubs, and you made us sit there and watch you drink and consume alcohol. You made us sit there and watch you abuse the haram, abuse the things that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made haram. You sat there and made us record every single thing you did to earn the ghussa and the anger of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then they will say, here on your way, hell is waiting for you, Jahannam is waiting for you. So after death, the Kiram and Katibin, they almost tell the insan, in fact, they do tell him what his end is going to be. He's not going to wait, but he already has an idea of where he is going and where he is going to end up. We already know. Just by the meeting with Malakul Maut, then the meeting with Kiram and Katibin. Okay? And then they discuss something else. If an individual, and this is from the hadith as well, if an individual abhors to meet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah abhors to meet him as well. What does this mean? If an individual dislikes to meet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, where do we meet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? In our death. After our death, we go back to Allah. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. To him we return. Yeah. So if a person hates this idea of him leaving this dunya, leaving this life, going back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and hates this meeting with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala hates this meeting as well. But if a person loves to meet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, a person can't wait to meet and return to his creator, the Khaliq, yeah, the Razik, the one who sustained him, the one who gave him life, the one who gave him everything. If a person loves to go and meet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah will love to meet that individual as well. So we have to think about our perspective of death. When we are thinking, when we are doing muhasabah, and muhasabah is so important, taking account of ourselves. Yeah, Sayyidina Umar radiallahu ta'ala ka ek bahut mashhoor qawl hai. Sayyidina Umar radiallahu ta'ala, he has a very famous statement. He says, Hasibu anfusakum. He says, take account of yourselves. Qabla an tuhasabu. He says, apna hisab karo, isse pehle ke tumhara hisab kiya jaye. Take account of yourself before you are taken account of. Yeah, and we have to get into a routine. One of our ustadh, Sheikh Sayyid Riyaz Hussain Shah Sahib from Bryfield, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala blessed them with a long life. They would always, when we were young and growing up, they would always say to us that take account of yourself. Take hisab of yourself. And they would say how? A practical way is, just before I finish, they would say every night, harrat, every night before you put your head on your pillow, ask yourself, Aaj ka din jo mujhe Allah Ta'ala ne diya, today the day Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has gave me, granted me, the breaths Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has granted me, what did I do with those breaths? What did I do with this time and day that I was blessed with by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? And then they would say, ask yourself, have I broke anybody's heart? मैंने कोई ऐसा काम किया है जिसमें किसी का दिल मैंने तोड़ा है? Have I done anything that is leading to the heartbreak of an individual? Have I done anything to displease Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Have I done anything to please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? क्या मैंने कोई ऐसा काम किया जिसमें Allah ta'ala की रिज़ा मुझे हासिल हो जाए? This is muhasabah. This is taking account of ourselves. And if we do not take account of ourselves, then the hisab on the day of judgment is going to be severe. The hisab on the day of judgment is going to be intense. But if a person lives his life in a habit, in a routine, where har roz wo apne aap ka muhasaba kar raha hai, then in the next life, in the akhirah, that hisab will be far less intense for that individual, because he did his tayyari. And that's what it comes to. Every week we're talking about what? Tayyari, preparation. What tayyari, what preparation are we doing for our maut? Wa akhiru ta'waya and alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Sunnat ada kar.